To our audience, I'd like to say that this is an interview with Silverio Damiani, who is a professional certified coach. And we're doing this in the context of the International Coaching Week. And this is an event that we are organizing here in Switzerland, a group of Swiss coaches from the International Coaching Federation of Switzerland, and specifically for international organizations and international workers. So I think I've said international about 10 times there, but just setting the context. I'm Saba Imru Mathieu. I'm an executive leadership coach. I've been a coach for 18 years, and I'm really delighted to be leading this initiative to offer knowledge about coaching and a lot of pro bono coaching sessions, which you may have seen on our website. But most importantly, to hear the experience of coaches, the real life thing, how they came to coaching, what they do in their coaching life. So I'm really pleased to introduce Silverio. He is a professional certified coach and ICF credentialed with an ACC credential, I believe. And he has a lot of experience in internal coaching in the place where he works in his organization. So welcome, Silverio. And I'd like to invite you maybe to say a little bit more about yourself that I haven't said in my brief introduction.
Hello, Saba. Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with you and with all those people will be listening, hopefully, this video. So what can I add? Well, as you can understand, as everybody can understand from my accent, I'm Italian. And I moved to Geneva, what is 25 years ago. I have an IT background. So I studied in Italy, in Turin, and I started working in an artificial intelligence laboratory for a few years. Then I decided that I wanted to be, let's say, involved in international cooperation. So I moved to a United Nations organization in Geneva. And I worked there for a few years, and then I changed the organization, and now I'm still working for a UN organization in Geneva, and my field of work is customer experience. And I'm also, as you said, an internal coach in this organization.
Okay, thank you for that. So tell me, how did you get to coaching? I mean, how did that come? You have a bad technology background, artificial intelligence, and then you're working in customer experience currently. But what led you to coaching?
Well, that's interesting. So this started more than 15 years ago, where I was going through a quite difficult period professionally as a manager. And then a friend suggested me to get a coach. And at that time, I didn't know what a coach was. I had no idea about that. And I got a coach who helped me in really overcoming very successfully that difficult period. But above all, I really fell in love with the coaching, especially with the coaching mindset, the coaching skills. So I decided to get some training, and I started. The beginning was a life coach training, and the idea was not to become a coach, but just to learn the coaching, a little bit the coaching attitude, the coaching mindset, and to apply it as a manager, which I did for a few years. And I was very happy about that. And this was the beginning. And then I applied my attitude, my skills, and I kept training and keeping in touch also through the ICF with the coaching, with training. And then step by step, over time, this interest became a passion. And in the latest years, I decided to go deeper in the training and to become a professional certified coach.
Okay, well, that's really interesting, because coaches, we come from all sorts of backgrounds. There are very few people who finish high school and then go to study coaching. You know, I don't know even know if there's any bachelor degrees in coaching. There certainly are master degrees and professional training. So most of us come from a background, and that's what makes our profession so rich. We have people like you who have a technology background, others come from HR, others come from sports. So it's really interesting that you took this path to become a coach and eventually have a really interesting function in your organization as an internal coach. You mentioned that you developed gradually your coaching training, going deeper and deeper in different aspects of coaching. What would you say were the first things that you learned when you became a coach? What were the things that really struck you that were different from the usual way we behave in work?
Oh, yes, this really reminds me the very first training that I did. It was a real, I can say, turning point in my life, really, because I discovered many things, but one of the things that I still remember is about what is called active listening. Because when I started this training, I thought that the listening would not be the skills that I would need to improve most. And during that training, I discovered actually that I was very, very far from that. I really started understanding what means being connected with someone, be listening with someone, and that was really an important point. And then, besides that, I discovered there are different ways of different types of intelligences, different type of using the body, the heart, the instinct, spontaneity, and as I'm also someone who is quite analytical and rational, that was a real, more than a surprise. This open up a new world, as we say in coaching, a new world of possibility, but really a new universe. That was really fantastic.
No, what you're saying is so interesting and so relevant because a lot of people think that, you know, to become a coach, you learn how to tell people how to do things or teach them things and so on. So there's a lot of misunderstanding on the word coaching to start with. But there's a dimension about learning how to become a coach that a lot of people don't know is that it transforms you, first of all. All the coaches I talked to and all the coaches that I taught while I was an instructor of coaches, and actually I still am, is the life-changing process that you go through as a coach. You learn to become more positive. You learn to use your emotions. You learn how to be a good listener. So it's really a transformational process just to become who we are as a coaching professional. So thank you for mentioning that because I'm sure that people who are thinking of maybe becoming a coach will be interested in learning that the first beneficiary will be themselves. And with the tools that they learn that they can apply to themselves, then they can help other people. So thank you for sharing that. And now what I'd like to go into a little bit is perhaps your experience as an internal coach. You know, every organization has a different way of deploying internal coaches. Some are very informal and very organic and, you know, really human to human contacts that are taking place informally in the organization. Others are more structured, and each experience is interesting. And I'd really love to hear about the origin of your, you know, starting to be an internal coach. How did that happen?
Yes, that is also a fantastic journey that is still going on. And this started a few years ago, and it originated from a former colleague who just started contacting other coaches, other colleagues who were already certified coach, who were going to become a certified coach. And the beginning was just a sort of informal discussions among us. And then a small group was created, and we decided to propose something to our colleagues in order to promote coaching and also to support and assist the colleagues. And the very initial activity was, let's say, due, if I can say so, to the pandemic, because we were at the beginning of the remote working, and we wanted to propose something to help colleagues to stay connected, because at that time people were quite, everybody, all of us, we were quite isolated. You may recall that period. And so we created a first workshop whose goal was to get people connected, but also we wanted to provide the opportunity to learn something new. And so we decided in that workshop to share and a coaching tool, and asking colleagues also to practice it. So the workshop was called Staying Connected, and it was very successful. And we did a lot of them with almost a pace of once a month, one in English and one in French. And people really, really enjoyed it. This was the first experience.
And may I ask you, because I'm sure our audience is wondering, what was that coaching tool? So what was this coaching tool that you shared with colleagues, and how does it help them in their life or interactions at work?
Oh, actually, in every workshop, we used to share a different coaching tool. And it could have been, and of course, they were a relatively easy coaching tool. We were explaining it, and then we were providing maybe a demo or some example. Usually, there were two facilitators, two coaches in the workshop, and then we divided colleagues into breaking rooms where they could try the tool, and then we got together in the plenary to share feedback. And people had the opportunity also to meet other colleagues, unknown colleagues or known colleagues, and to share. And it's true that there was a lot of also chatting, because people needed to chat a lot, but at the same time, they got something that they could use by their own. And there were various tools, and we choose easy ones, let's say something that can be explained and practiced quite easily.
So basically what you were doing was sort of a mini coaching skills training for everyone. And this is really the foundation of creating a coaching culture, which includes active listening, as you said, in a deeper way. But I'm going to push you and ask you to give me an example of one of the tools that you shared with your colleagues that they then practiced in the workshop and then went to use it at work. To think about one thing that sort of illustrates what we coaches mean by coaching tool for our audience.
But one of the latest, I remember that one of the latest that we provided is something that is called the empty chair. The empty chair, and is a tool that allows a person to put himself or herself in the shoes of the other person. And they can be used, and it is very simple and very powerful, especially to deal with difficult conversations. And is a tool where the person is invited to alternatively to be himself or herself in a conversation, and then the other person really invited to feel the emotions of the other persons, and simulating or visualizing a conversation in a 2-3 exchanges in a few minutes. And this is a tool already extremely powerful in coaching, but even in a context relatively quick, because the workshop were 1 hour and 15 minutes, they were we used to have a lot of haha moments from colleagues who really did realize, oh, I didn't think of that emotions or that things, and it was really effective.
Wow, that's such a great example because it's a perfect way to help people to have difficult conversations and to maybe reflect on what another person's point of view could be. Because often, not always, but often when there's a conflict, each person has a very different story to tell about the conflict, a very different perception of it. So this is like a fantastic tool that you share with your colleagues, even the awareness that they gain through this, to help them in their workplace relations. Thank you for that. That you chose a good one there. So let's go back to, you had this initiative during the pandemic, and it was a difficult time, and through your workshops, your online workshops, you were able to get people to connect with each other, talk to colleagues that maybe they hadn't ever talked to in the organization. And so the role of you internal coaches, your small group of internal coaches, was really starting to have an impact. I'd love you to tell me, I'd love it if you could tell me, how the activities of your group evolved.
Yes. Yes, because the group, let's say, the group size increased over the time. So there were other colleagues who became coaches, and so we invited them into the group. And so the group, which is still existing, used to include colleagues from various departments with different backgrounds, different professional background, and also different coaching background, different type of approaches in coaching. And also it was and still a group that can speak several languages. Now, for instance, the group is 8 persons and we speak in total 6 languages. And we wanted to promote a coaching culture in the organization and also really assist the colleagues with their challenges. And when we say challenges, could be difficulties, but it can also be opportunities, because we don't have to think only of coaching only when there is a problem. There are also opportunities. Could be a new project, a new promotion, and something. And so from those workshops, we started organizing other initiatives. First of all, we started providing individual coaching. So the internal coaching team is a team of colleagues who do coaching, provide coaching services on the top of their regular work. So depending on the availability, we started providing of the coaches, we started providing individual coaching. So anybody can contact the team, can choose a coach. Maybe can choose the coach background, the coach's background, the coach's approach, and or the language sometimes, because in coaching is also important sometimes to speak our own native language, let's say. And so the individual coaching is one of the activities. And then we also started organizing other type of workshops, for instance, to, let's say, workshops to on demand to improve teams cohesion. We started also cooperating with other organizations to organize what can be called group coaching, a specific one which is called action learning. And other initiatives, but also there is also something that is less formal and that we do, which can be called coaching conversations. And these are the informal conversations that happens, interactions with colleagues that are very spontaneous, and where colleagues can speak to us and then can share things, and they can find not just someone who is a sounding board, but someone that maybe in a short time can help in finding seeing things from different perspective, or finding some resources. And these are also an important element of the contribution of the internal coaching team.
Well, thank you. This is really amazing. The number of services that you're offering. in addition to your work, of course, it's something amazing. I'm surprised how active and dynamic you have been as a group of 8 people. And it's sort of like a grassroots movement, of course, you're an official group in your organization, but it's a grassroots movement in the sense that you have created the structure, the content, the services that are available. And it's really so precious. I'm sure you're a real treasure in your organization because you're having a very positive impact on so many people. There are two things that came out from what you said, which I think are really important, and I'd like to highlight them to our viewers. The first one is that coaching is not only for when there are problems, it's also for developing potential when there are opportunities. I'm so glad you said that because many organizations, especially those who are just starting with coaching, are still stuck in an old-fashioned model where you would get a coach to fix somebody, and that is not at all this. I mean, of course, coaching helps also when there are problems, but the spirit of coaching is really to develop people's potential, to look at their strengths and move forward towards new opportunities. So thank you for mentioning that. And the other second very important thing, which is also not very well known, are these informal coaching conversations. And again, a lot of people think of coaching, if I want to be a manager who learns coaching, then I'm going to have coaching sessions with my employees, with my team members, and I don't have time to sit and have 1 hour conversations and so on. And I think that the fact that you mentioned how you are holding coaching conversations informally with colleagues really illustrates that coaching is not only having a coaching session, that's what professional coaches do, but it's also having a mindset of inquiry, of helping people to think through problems in a very informal and sometimes very quick way. And so I really salute your initiative about conversational coaching. That's what we need. We need people to talk to each other in a more constructive and creative and useful, effective way. So I hope everybody's listening that coaching is more than coaching sessions, or coaching is more than asking open-ended questions. Right. So would you like to perhaps mention a little bit the actual benefit, the impact that you've had? I mean, we can sort of surmise it from what you've said, but tell me, how has this been beneficial to the people in your organization?
From what let's say I perceive, but also from what I can observe, there are many benefits. First of all, is the access to the coaching for everybody, because something that we apply is that we provide our services, whether they are individual coaching or other, regardless of the grade and of the type of contract of the personnel of the organization. So there can be also, and there are also colleagues who are not part of the staff, but they are working for the organization maybe for many years. They've been working for many years. So this is there is an easy access because, of course, depending on our availability, but anybody can get a coach, let's say, free of charge, with no budget needed in a very short time. And then one thing that I find extremely powerful is also that the colleagues also can feel supported by someone who can help in their challenges or in their career. I'm not saying that we are the only one, of course. There are other instances of organizations that work on that, but this is a different one. And also there is the benefit is also there is a contribution. I would say personally, I feel that there is a contribution to a sense of community for the personnel of the organization. I personally feel much, since I started the internal coaching, I feel much closer to my colleagues, and I also feel that colleagues are closer to me, and there is a sense of mutual trust that is let's say that is improved, or anyway that is felt, at least from my perspective.
Thank you. That's great. It gives us an idea a little bit of, the human factor, not only helping people progress in their projects and their, or maybe in the problems to resolve problems, but there's really just this human factor, and which is so essential, especially, with the stress that people are going through nowadays at work, in every business, in particular in international organizations and NGOs who are mainly focusing on their core programs and have little time for staff development, or maybe little budget for staff development. So providing this human element is really, really very valuable. People want to have, human to human contact in work. They don't want to be just machines or just struggling around stress. I think one of the things that you mentioned about being closer to colleagues is something that many managers would like to have without, necessarily becoming best friends or something, that having a closer dialogue is certainly something that is very useful and helps productivity and helps people to be feeling in a safe space. And people who are stressed out are not giving the best of themselves, but people who are feeling in a safe space and in connection with their colleagues and with their boss are certainly likely to be more productive and contribute to their organization better. So that's also an important element that I'm sure has contributed to build trust with your colleagues, is that all of you are trained professional coaches and have a code of ethics and adhere to confidentiality. Right. There must be some challenges about this. It can't all be opportunities. Tell me what the challenges are of the internal coaching experience.
Yes, so yes, well, I can, you have just mentioned about confidentiality. Confidentiality is a challenge in the sense that still it's as a matter of fact, colleagues have doubts about confidentiality in the sense that they may not want to share personal matters with someone within the organization. This is a matter of fact, is a perception. It doesn't have maybe rational reasons, but this can also be, let's say, handled, at least in our case, because one of the activities also that we provide, actually, the team is involved in, is a part of a larger group of coaches in international organizations, a network which is called International Organization Coaching Network, which is a group of volunteer coaching like us in other organizations. So it happens that if someone requests some coaching in an organization, then it can be, the request can be posted, let's say, into the group. And so the person can get a coach from another organization, and this helps often in dealing with maybe some confidentiality issues. And this is one of the challenges, but there is some solution. Then the other challenges are, of course, we do that on the top of our job, so it's the availability of our time. So we would like to do as much as possible, but that is also our job. So it's not, we have to manage both activities. Then also it could be, and speaking about that, also when we have to organize something, whether it is a workshop, individual coaching, at least personally, one of the challenges is, especially for individual coaching, is how organize that, how to insert literally the hour of formal individual coaching into my day, because anyway, I'm doing a job and then I need to be prepared mentally, physically, emotionally for a coaching session. So this is a challenge, and so every coach has his own ways to do that, but is not is a challenge anyway to switch maybe from a meeting or from a type of work then to a coaching session and maybe come back to another meeting or to the work. So this can be managed. For instance, coaching session can be organized at the beginning of the day or during lunchtime or towards the end of the day. Everybody has his own let's say, approach. And maybe another challenge could be that we have always to pay attention to what could be a conflict of interest. And conflict of interest, that means that maybe some aspects of our job or the job of our coachee overlaps or conflicts. So we have to pay attention to that and not only to the current conflict of interest, but possible conflict of interest, maybe. So, and of course, there are the trivial ones. I can't formally coach. We can't formally coach someone who is supervised by me, for instance, or we have to pay attention that I may not become a supervisor supervised by someone who has been a client. So there are also these type of things. But anyway, when there is clarity and transparency and openness, these are also things that can be anticipated quite well.
Thank you. Yeah, these are very good points. And because you're all professional coaches, you're capable of preempting or finding remedies to the various challenges that are available. I'm glad you mentioned the internal coaches network for international organizations. I'm sure a lot of people don't know about it, but there are coaches in your organization, dear viewers, and so look around and find out, how you can get in touch with them if you can. And I'd like to sort of start wrapping up this conversation. And I'll just throw a question at you. You don't necessarily have to answer it, but is there something that I haven't asked you, that I haven't given you yet the opportunity to express? Is there something else that you want our viewers to hear?
Well, first of all, if we speak about internal coaching, I would say that is a fantastic experience also from the point of view of the relation with the other coaches, so the other internal coaches. So the group I belong to is really fantastic, and to have a group of people who share the same values, who wants to contribute to the organization, who wants to assist colleagues, accompany colleagues. This is really fantastic, and it's also a fantastic experience, let's say, from the associative point of view, in the sense that at least in our case, we have no specific structure, no specific organization. There is no hierarchy, and it's just a group of colleagues who try to do best, but with always aiming at the highest quality in providing coaching in terms of quality of coaching, in terms of professionalism. And this is an additional learning experience on the top of coaching per se, which is, as you said before, a transformational experience which never ends.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Silverio, for your last words. And I think we'll wrap up this interview now, if you're okay with that. And I want to thank you and really encourage you to continue your work. And I love to see you so active in our activities. Thank you for that also. So, dear viewers, you've heard a very interesting story of how Silverio Damiani became a coach and how him and his colleagues are deploying internal coaching in their organization. I know many people are interested in becoming a coach, so his story will be really resonant for you. This, again, I remind you, is an interview that is being done during Internal Coaching Week, and it's organized by International Coaching Federation Switzerland. I'm the lead on this project and having a great time interviewing my colleagues and getting to know them better. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.